good to see you too, Dr. Watson.
And good to see you. These have been great. I'll tell you, honestly, just being able to catch up on everybody's stuff has been really
I feel like I have a new group of friends.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
We'll have to do a reunion tour.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our what may be our final regional report out call. As the numbers have continued to get better, we're going to put this program on hiatus after this week's calls and pick it back up if we need to. If there's something with numbers or vaccine or something that we need to get out, we can use this tool to get it out to you. So we'll go through our regular rhythm here, but I know Seth has had to step out of another meeting to be with us. Seth, is it helpful for you, for me to go over the numbers first or to let you give a report out first?
Go ahead and go over the numbers first.
Okay. I'll run through them quickly for you. And thank you for being here as always. You wear a lot of hats, my friend. All right. So the dashboard looks a little different this week because we had some issues and we have the rolled up version here. South Central Kansas's white line here. And what I thought would be helpful is if I compared this to where we were roughly a month ago on January 18th. Okay, so South Central Kansas on January 18th, we had 224 hospitalized, confirmed, or suspected COVID patients. So we were down from 224 to 139. Inside the ICU, COVID patients, we had 72 a month ago, down to 44. Adult staffed ICU beds, we had 52 available. Now we have 71. We're at 19% now to 25% over the last month. So you can see just good improvement in all these areas. It's been nice and steady. I'll come down here to our region right here. You can see how we just continue to come off this November peak with a little bounce coming in to January and now coming down and seeing, numbers that are making us all breathe a little easier. I'm going to come over here to KDH&E's website because I think it paints a picture too. You can see the statewide here, but this is the number of cases week over week. South Central Kansas again here, and you can see coming into January where we were at 5,000 new cases down to 3,000 on here to this last week of 1,647. This is just one type of test, but it does consistently paint the picture here for us of the drop in cases. And then the percent positive is also another one we look at, and you want to see both of them going in the same direction. Red being that you're above 15%, orange 10 to 15, yellow 5 to 10, and blue under 5. And you can just see again how we got under 10 and over the course of last month, 9.483, 8.3 essentially, 6.6, 5.17 this past week. So getting closer to blue as a region, which is good. And while I have your attention, I'll flip over here to the kansasvaccine.gov as we like to look at the data tab here. Now up to 10% of Kansas vaccinated, and it's probably more than that. And second dose, we're over 100,000 Kansas that are fully vaccinated. So always just a good place to go. Questions of how many doses we're getting out per day and the allotment per county. A lot of good stuff on here. And the Find My Vaccine tab also very helpful. If in your region you want to come down to this part and you can see, where your providers are who are getting vaccine, when they got it, and how to contact them. So let me now, having gone over those numbers and reflecting on that good news, let's kick it over to Seth Conkle to give us an update from the County Health Department.
Hey, John, thanks. Yeah, no, that covers most of what I needed to cover. So you did it for me. Appreciate that. As everybody can see, we're down in the testing front or down in the case count front. So I think that's a great thing. We've only got as of the 13th. So that's a little bit of a delayed period. We only have one county in the region that's kind of in the red. Everybody else is yellow and green. And so that's a great thing to see those positive tests come down. And hopefully, this last couple of weeks or this last week or so where it's been really cold, people have just been staying home, staying in, and we'll continue to see those numbers stay where they need to be and keep them. In terms of vaccine, we are at 10% of the state population, so I think that's an exciting thing. I think we're seeing a lot of good movement in that area in terms of vaccine is rolling out far more consistently. In terms of coming from the manufacturer, we are seeing that potentially could have another vaccine onboarded at the end of the month that would allow us to expand the number of people that we are vaccinating each day and each week. Another thing that started last week was the retail pharmacy program. So this does not touch all counties in South Central Kansas, but it is a program that's been rolled out by the federal government with several both national retail chains and then local independent stores. So it brought an additional about 10,000 doses, I think just under that, into the states, and we will continue to see or should continue to see those doses each week, and then an increase in that area as well. So those doses are going directly from the federal government to those pharmacy providers, and we're working with them to get them also up on the Find My Vaccine tool. So you'll be able to see those and who's got or who's received a vaccine in the last week. All in all, I mean, I think things are setting well. We have to continue to maintain the social distancing, wearing our mask, taking all of the steps that we've been working on for the last year to continue to see these numbers go down. So I think, John, unless you have questions, that's really all at this time.
I do have one question for you. I mean, well, two, I guess. So do you know off the top of your head which county is still lagging and in the red?
So if we look at the state's reports on their website, it looks like Sumner County for the nursing home matrix. So again, that's the red, yellow, and green. Again, still those 5%. So those could just be old numbers, or they're a cluster or something. So again, I think in overall, the region is looking good.
And let me ask you one other question. So the news locally here is the UK variant has popped up in this region. Do you have any thoughts around that that you'd like to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's definitely something that Katie is monitoring. They are doing the appropriate tests to find out those varieties of different strains that are in the communities. We're still learning a lot when it comes to vaccine. Trying to ascertain how effective it's going to be, the strains, and as the strains continue to mutate, that means. And I think that's why, if nothing else, that's why it's so important to continue to do what we've been doing to get the case down. And this is not a time to let off the brakes. If anything, this is a time to put the pedal to the metal and go stronger on those. So we can continue to hopefully see some restrictions removed in the coming months, especially as we get out of winter, where actors can start being outside more, people can start socializing, so to speak, but in a little bit safer manner doing that outside. So yeah, I think we're to get through winter and get in and see where that's a month or two.
Thank you, Seth. I know you got another meeting you got to go to. We appreciate you being with us, and just want to thank you. I'll thank everybody at the end of this call, but no one gets paid extra to be on these calls. Everybody's been volunteering to do it for the region and for their neighbors and fellow Kansans. So thank you for all you're doing, not only in this capacity, but many others to step back into county health and serve in so many ways.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thanks to all the people that listen to these calls on a weekly basis. Please keep passing the message and the information that we've been sharing. I think around all of us, we've shared a lot of the platforms that we look at on a daily basis. So can you monitor those and do what you can in your communities.
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you, guys.
All right, let's pass it over to Dee Dee, talk about what's going on in the hospitals. Dee Dee.
Hey, thanks, John. Dee Dee Duell. I'm with Ascension Via Christi, and I'm representing the 19 counties in this region here for this final report out, as it seems for now anyway, hopefully forever. I I would just make a few comments from the hospital side of things. And, it's just a welcome relief. The hospitals are that the COVID hospitalizations continue to trend downward. It's a real boost for our hospitals and staffs to see that, our bigger hospitals. I know here in Wichita, it's been great to be able to decommission or take some of those COVID dedicated units and patient rooms and transition them back to regular care, which is a wonderful feeling. The ICU beds, seem to be loosening up, and that's very welcomed. And hopefully that's translating to, fewer challenges with patient transfers from our outlying areas. It's just feeling more stable and just kind of a real boost for everyone. The staffing levels seem to be feeling a little more stable. And I have heard from some hospitals saying they've been able to terminate some of their traveler contracts or reduce some of their traveler contracts for that staffing, which is wonderful. Although I would definitely say we need to still pay very close attention to the staffing morale, because these people have been working lots of extra shifts, for the past year. There's burnout, they're tired, they need a break. And hopefully maybe now some of those can start to get a little bit of that well-deserved rest and break here and there. So, they rightfully deserve so much recognition and appreciation. So please take the time every time you can and just say a simple thank you in whatever way that you can. It does count. It means a lot. As the hospitals, some of them are helping provide some resources to their local health departments as they continue to roll the vaccines out. And they continue to see patients with post-COVID conditions, and they're doing the antibody treatments. So they're still very busy with a lot of those areas. And I think it's been mentioned before, but, there's a great concern for people who've been skipping and delaying care due to the pandemic, and what we might start seeing as a result of that, not going to the ER, not being treated, not getting their screenings. I think I saw something this morning in a study that a third of United States adults have delayed or skipped care during the pandemic. So, the big thing is don't delay your care. Be seen, it's safe, get in there, be seen, don't delay care because something bad's going to happen. I think my final comment is going to be on the warm and fuzzy side. And that is just finally, since this is kind of our last report out, I just want to give a very humble and huge thanks to all of our hospitals and staffs in this region and across the state for their commitment and dedication to their professions, for their compassion and skilled care. Innovation, endurance, perseverance, all of that through all the twists and turns, lifting one another up and supporting one another. We are not, I know, by any means at the end of this. We have miles yet to go, and we must remain very steadfast and encouraged and vigilant. And I want to thank all the people who took the time to come on to these report outs and give a very meaningful stories, frontline stories and that sort of thing, to give our general public kind of a view from their lens. I think that has been very powerful and meaningful. And really, John and you, everyone on this team, it's just been a real pleasure and a privilege to serve with you, learn from you. I've learned a ton across these report outs, and just been a real honor. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Really appreciate it. Well, now before we wrap up, let me pass it over to Dr. Watson with Cheyenne Mountain Software, and he'll give us an update on the transfer situation.
Yeah, great. And it is a lot better by far. And we're seeing a majority of greens, meaning that there's normal capacity in the system for this time of year and what everybody's dealing with, which is great news. And as we look at just numbers, the percentage that are COVID are now about 10% that we're moving, and only about 13% are needing to find placement in bed. So these are good numbers, knowing that desperation is is leaving the system, and we actually have capacity, and we actually can plan for what's going to happen in the next month. And it looks, rather than just putting out fires and doing everything we can to stay above water, we're able to start thinking about, okay, where are the people that we normally see now with the heart attacks, the strokes? I know cancer came up this last call as well, and Dee Dee said it so well that there are just people out there who have not been attending to care. A third is amazing to me. That's just a huge number. So encourage people to get back with it. Also, I think, as this is what we look at as being the last in this series for now, number one, there is probably going to be a spring spike, and we hope with the vaccination it will be blunted and won't be an issue. And then number two, of everything we've learned in this last months, that we've learned about our systems and about the gaps that we have in our state healthcare, that we don't go backwards, that we move forward from that. We're able to evaluate it, and we're able to codify it, and we're able to use it in the future so that we don't end up behind the 8 ball in the future, should this happen in any form again. So again, very important. And again, thanks to the people who have shared information. I agree with Dee Dee. I've learned tons on these calls, and just being able to hear everybody's stories honestly has been the most encouraging part of the process. So everybody's so busy doing the work, and sometimes we forget that there's so much good around us that's happening, and just that ability to share that makes a whole lot of difference.
Thanks, Dr. Watson. That's great. A couple just thoughts on the vaccine. So we were able to have Dr. Marcy Nielsen with us, who is helping work with KDHE and the governor's office on the state response on the vaccine. So she did say we're going to be hearing more from the governor tomorrow. There's clearly been a lot written and asked about the urban-rural divide. And so she was putting out a couple points on that. The least amount of doses that can be shipped is 100. That's why you're seeing 100 go out to some of these counties that are further along. Pfizer vaccine has been going to the urban markets because of the ultra cold storage requirements, and we've been getting less Pfizer than we had in past weeks. And that they are hoping the retail pharmacy program will begin to level the playing field. But she did point out there's just a lot of tech problems still with the data reporting. We'll be hearing more on that tomorrow. That our numbers are better than they look, but there's still issues with how that goes. Their goal is still, as soon as we get vaccine in, that it's in arms in 7 days. I asked her about the next 90 to 120 days. We'll almost certainly be getting more vaccine in the state. That's been increasing. The retail pharmacy program, which was Dillon's and Walmart's, I think generally in this region, that was test run the first week. And I believe as they work out their kinks, they're going to be getting more vaccine. And with Johnson & Johnson hopefully coming online, that will also open a third channel of vaccine into the market. So, but we still find ourselves in a time when there's less vaccine or limited vaccine against the number of people who want it. She was also pointing out, if you look out the next 90 to 120 days, we'll actually have to start having more conversations around the vaccine hesitancy, where there's plenty of vaccine and not enough people who want to take it. And so I really will be reaching out to physician community to help with that messaging and help people feel good about the vaccine and how important it is. And I'll go back to the UK variant too. I was trying to get a little more information on that before these calls. They're still looking at it. It's believed and reported in the paper. The person had been traveling out of state, so they may have brought it in from out of state. But they were doing the contact tracing and trying to see. It is the early studies are showing it to be more contagious and a little more lethal. So this is the right time to continue to mask, continue to distance. Knowing that it's here, we don't want that to spread or any faster than it already will. And the longer we can hold it off, the more people we can get vaccinated, the better off we're going to be. But it is a reality that we do know that it is here now. We'll be watching that as we move forward. But I think you're hearing the key messages here. If you've been delaying care, please get in. get looked at. The hospitals are safe places to be, and your doctors are anxious to see you and to take care of you. We like to share bright spots on these. The bright spot I have for today is out of Southwest Kansas. I'm pulling it up here so you can see it's a YouTube channel. It's called It's a Beautiful Day in Our Neighborhood, not your neighborhood, does a differentiation from Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. But you'll see here a series of conversations around COVID-19 vaccine. There are two physician assistants, Aaron Keeley and Rachel Sfati, who are from Southwest Kansas, of which between that area, Liberal, Garden City, Dodge City, over half the population, English is not the first language. And they were sitting around one night thinking of their Somali neighbor and how to get information to them. And they thought they'd make a video and realized that there was much more need. And so you can see Arabic and Karen and Burmese and Spanish and Somali, all kinds of different languages where they have a conversation that's translated to help people get the information around vaccine. These are great to forward. If you have friends whose primary language is any of these, it's really caught some fire here the last few days. I know they're getting more help and assistance in how they're recording these and getting them out. But neatest thing to me in this, obviously a great service, but just two folks thinking about how to love their neighbor, and they had an idea, and it's loving a lot more people than their neighbor. And I'll tell you, kindness and love are contagious like that, and don't run out. So just love seeing that out of the medical community, and just thought it'd be a great highlight here as we wrap these up. Now, what we'll do, like we said, we're putting these on hiatus. If there's some information we need to get out through these channels, we are keeping the infrastructure in place. We'll send out an email letting you know we're picking this up, covid.ks.gov/report-outs. If you want to put in your email address, if you haven't already. But we're grateful to have been able to serve this way. And again, I just thank everybody, Dee Dee, your heart, the people you selected, in this region in particular, the stories that we got to hear from such a variety of people serving so many different capacities and different populations was really moving. And I still remember the very first one of the doctor from Lyons, and that story. It was very moving. So, but it's great to have served with you in this way. Dr. Watson, thank you, Dee Dee, Seth, and all the others who have come on. And Megan back there behind the screen, who's, from a technology standpoint, kept these things going. We appreciate you, Megan, also. And Ryan, who's helped with all the emails and everything like that. So a lot of people all volunteering for the state, and we're grateful for all of you. Until next time, my friends, we wish you the best, and stay sharp, and let's finish this race strong. Thank you guys very much.
Great. Thank you.